Right. So, James is still lying sleeping. He has moved about, so he's ready to get up. Because his blanket has slipped out the way, I have planked a knife on him. Now, I'm hoping this will prevent me being interrupted by Scratch McCrackers whilst I'm trying to discuss really serious things with James. So, here's hoping, fingers crossed. James, you getting up?
Aye.
I've just made you a cup of tea.
Tea? Oh. Move. Baby need a cup of tea. Move.
I know. You've got one sitting here.
Yes. Oh. I don't think I've moved for the last time I moved.
You moved slightly.
Did I?
Just ever so slight.
Oh, that was a fluke.
Are you getting up there?
I'm getting up. Oh. Oof.
What's yourself?
Well, my eyes are in my head. It's a bit hard. There's no mirrors in here. Just saying. I think I need to keep my eye on what I'm doing rather than watch myself, because if I watch myself, I'm going to fire.
Yeah.
Right. Tea. I was in the land of Nod, Mum.
I know.
And Mum was on a big elephant and she was riding up the glen, and I was on a camel. She's screaming at the back of you, shouting, "Mum! Mum!" And you were looking back going, "Hurry up, elephant, stupid elephant. Move, he's on a camel, he's catching up." And it was going like that, and I had the feeling that Mum didn't love baby anymore.
Oh, of course I love baby.
But why were you belting up the hill on an elephant?
Why were you belting up the hill on a camel?
She's after the mum who was running after over the baby.
I wasn't. The elephant noticed a little mouse and went running away. I can't stop the elephant, can I?
Was it you shit over me, or was that the elephant? Hey, Mum.
Okay. Okay.
Right, I'm up.
Right.
I'm awake.
Yeah.
Just about. Although, I don't know, for the shoulders up, it feels like I'm hanging to bits.
Well,
So, what you been up to today? What's been happening today? This is where my head gets crippled.
right, well, didn't let it get crippled, right? Try not to. Right. Situations are, I've emailed a lot of solicitors
Why?
to try and get them involved in the case.
Are you serious?
Well, I'm trying. The probably turn
See what
around
you
and tell
need
me
to
what they
do.
did.
I mean, you're not going to get anybody. But I suppose it is even continued proof that nobody will touch you. Anything to do with you.
The other aspect is, real important aspect here, is I contacted the upper tier tribunal.
Right.
Spoke to a woman named Melanie.
Melanie, we spoke to her before.
Yeah. Now, she can see absolutely everything.
Is she?
Aye.
She's clairvoyant, is she?
Well, she's, right, all the emails that have been sent in, she can see them all, right, so they are receiving them. She can see that there's been absolutely no decision whatsoever made by the tribunal.
So,
You can't see the reasons why there's no decision.
Is this looking for interim orders?
Well, regarding the interim orders and the case management at UAP.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what she's identified is it's not been noted on system yet, but it's been noted today that my email address is changed.
Right.
And I did notify them that you were doing the case.
Mm-hmm. Well, you done that before.
Yeah.
Did she see those emails?
Yes, that's what I'm on about.
So prior to the 9th of March, they already knew that it was me they had to send the link to.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's confirmed it today that, yep, she can see these emails. And the email that I've been sending non-stop.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other emails that I've been sending, she's going to forward them to the legal member today.
Yeah, but we've had this before. Where there's a decent clerk comes in, not only recognises but identifies and tells you.
Yeah.
She can see all that. Can't understand why it's not been acted upon and sends it back to the tribunal.
Yes.
Now in Bodom, that case, the clerks were frantic.
Oh.
It went on for months, about 8 months. Then the next again year, after another hearing, where these legal points never got answered. And it turned out we was at the tribunal in the legal chair going like this. Well, I've looked at the past paperwork, there's no legal points ever been raised. Right now, moving on now, and turning away round to the lawyer for the lawyer to come to his feet fast. You know, and I'm like, fuck. You know, absolute disaster. And the same thing happened in the Gordon Mills case, and the same thing happened in the Frog Hall case, and the same thing's right out of the board in the Jute Street case. So it's like, it's not a case of, I appreciate what you're telling me. Like, she's sending it right up, she's seen them all, and is putting them all before the tribunal again. Right? But you've got to think to yourself, Kim, if it's not written up on the system, why is it not getting written up? And when you look at the previous cases, the Gordon Mills case had a Mr. Kiddy on it. And his site gave a case where the landlord's son wanted to move in. And stated that, and that's what came off the tribunal website itself.
Yes.
But that's now been changed to, he's want to sell the house.
Right.
So again, we see a pattern of behaviour where things are not recorded because they don't know what we're going to be doing next. So, guaranteed, the clerks have dutifully sent these emails on. The legal chairs are aware of them. They're just not getting answered. And it's the same problematic behaviour being controlled by the legal chair. Or is it getting stopped at the clerk level?
Well, it is something that myself and Melanie discussed.
Right.
And I've invited her to look at previous cases. In particular, the ones that this particular clerk has been on and handled in the past. And we see the exact same behaviour.
Aye.
She confirmed that she can identify things. She wouldn't confirm what she could identify.
Well, she's identifying things, she's looking for a pattern of the behaviour.
Yeah, she did say, I can see certain aspects of what you're talking about. And she went, and I will raise this with the legal member.
Well, we've already tried. That's part of the legal questions with the legal member.
Yes.
Although I didn't care exactly, I'm saying that, but I didn't care exactly what you've written. I didn't care what emails you've sent off today. I don't know what you've been doing with these emails. But, so there's a clerk called Melanie.
Yeah.
Now, if I remember correctly, Melanie was a person who was the girl that e-bundled she e-bundled, I think it was the Bodom case. No, it wasn't. It was the Gordon Mills case. She e-bundled it all together. And she was really disgusted. And you could see that in her language in which, and in the tone in which she spoke. When she said, this is no right. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to put this together for you and I'll email it to you.
Yeah. And
within half an hour, it was sitting in the email. You know, the full e-bundle, everything that had went wrong.
the chronological order of the case, how there was no understanding as to why the legal chair wasn't answering any of the legal points. Also in that case, we had cited the Bodum case because it was evident in that case, and I'm sure it was Melanie. There was others as well that went back and looked at these cases and seen the problematic difficulties there being the very same thing. Then we've got that really good clerk who endeavoured with us for about 9 days. Right, we're in touch with her quite a lot, but we tended not to get through to her. And then coming up to the tribunal, she was phoning us up. I mean, she was saying to us, look, the sheriff's asked for these specific points and details to be dealt with. And we couldn't understand it because we had already not only dealt with it, but dealt with it really proficiently well. Right? And I think there was about 11 emails, and overall, there was about maybe 5 or 6, 7 telephone calls, and somewhere in the region of the 3, 4, 5, or the 4th, 5th, and 6th telephone call, she grabbed it. She grappled with the idea that what we are sending her isn't what she's receiving. There's also 6-hour time gaps, and she realised in the emails as we went through the email box together that it appears that I had been writing to her at 1:10 in the morning. And she was answering back at 5:10. Right, and that was written right across the board in all our emails dealing with the courts.
Yes.
Where, if it was going to be gone into having to forensically prove this, then things would be out of time, things would be late, things would be missing. And everything that has been sent to the tribunal, through that clerk, she identified, when she did get the final copy, and she says 11 pages, I remember saying there are 11 pages, and she went through the paragraphs because they were numbered, and she says what each paragraph dealt with. And I says to her, right, you've got it all. But look how the hackers must have been listening to calls, how the hackers were watching the emails to see how much they could do before they had to say to themselves, we need to back out on it. But when you look back at that, Kimberly, that case still wasn't dealt with the legal chair.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know.
It was not dealt with the legal chair, and that's what the e-bundle came back. So when you're looking forward to going to court on this one, the fact that you can't get access to the Housing and Property Chamber, that is a straightforward devolution minute on various statutory performances, the statutes and how they're being performed and how they're completely bereft of anything that would give any protections to tenants and people with counterclaims and they're going to say, well, the system's actually designed to do all that, James, you know, and it's like, no, it's no. This is what we've been putting up with. And it's all the same modus operandi and other mode of behaviour. And when you look at through all of them, you can put it down to hacking, you can put it down to manipulative clerks, and you can put it down to legal chairs just simply not doing their job. So it's lawyers controlling the law as opposed to lawyers practicing the law and putting that into place. And it's wiped right across the board, and you've got good old Police Scotland, and you do it sitting in the background, don't worry, we'll claim we've got mental health issues. Don't worry, claim we've got mental health issues. Because there is so much happening, they think we couldn't gather the evidence on it, and we've done it really, really well.
That's it.
So what we've got to know, what you're telling me today, is that the legal chair has still chosen not to, and this clerk has still chosen not to deal with these points. And as we've seen on the 29th of November 2024, at the case management meeting, the clerk said, after an awful lot of pushing, questioning, well, actually, I didn't send the emails on. We discovered that the legal chair just got them. In that 30 emails, there was all the legal points that the legal chair had to deal with. So we know at least as late as the 29th of November, he got sight of them. Because of the contents of these emails, he couldn't believe that the pursuer's solicitors, Linda Fife, didn't get the emails. We were quite clear that she had.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
there's other emails that she got for me, and other visual presentations she got for me. The instructions to the client that says, look, don't speak to them. Whether they like it or no, they become acting agents for 24-hour emergency repairs, and they were never done under them. They made us live there for a few more years under the conditions. And then the removal men had to say, we can't pick up the stuff. You know, because of health and safety reasons in that flat. Dealing with the smell, the floods on the flares, and the damp and the mould. The lighting, no lighting. And now it's got to the point where you're going to lose all your stuff because nobody's going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And the councils are now blaming you for manipulation of the funds.
Well,
What a shower of fucking arseholes, man. Seriously. You couldn't make this up. You really couldn't make this up. Oh,
the other good aspect of things is...
you shouldn't have, you know something, Kim, you shouldn't have rambled that into me. I'm just up, honestly.
I know.
I should have got time to think about butterflies and buttercups.
Oh, you're fine, right? You're
I'm fine. No, I'm not. There's nose to the grindstone here the minute I woke up. Oh, by the way, James.
Right, well, it's stuff you need to catch.
Oh,
Right.
I don't know about that.
The other aspect is having received absolutely no response back from Gary's solicitor or Gary. I messaged Gary asking for him to contact the solicitors so I can get a response. He did message back saying that he's spoken to her and I should receive a response.
Right.
I then messaged Gary round about, say about maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock-ish, to inform him that I've still received no response. So
See, there's part of it's but you're discovering there, Cam, right? And we've seen it before, and we suspected it, that Gary's no got a clue
yeah,
if the solicitors are aware of what they've done.
yeah,
Right? And the solicitors are no bothered about what they've done because right in the 29th of November, having admitted they've never spoke to us, had any emails, nothing, they're able to claim that we're fantasia, or you were fantasious, vexatious, whilst claiming that your language was, or your writings were incoherent.
yeah.
And there we see the 30 emails that lay with the clerk. They could not have been in the condition as they were written. So in the legal chair's paperwork, there's 30 emails there. We would like to see them and compare them to the emails that were sent.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no way these legal chairs can be ignoring things unless they're a manipulation at the clerk level. And something that I identified a few years ago, looking at other cases, that appeared that these non-qualified clerks that are screwing the administration of justice, really seriously are, they get the rap for anything that goes wrong because they're advising the legal chair. He's a fully qualified lawyer.
Yeah.
You've seen it in the sheriff court down in Falkirk where a non-qualified clerk is giving advice on how to put video evidence into the courts, and there's a sheriff there who would have known all these procedures and some record. I know that other different applications in law that can be made. That sheriff would have known the video procedure, and there is video procedures, but to sit on a bench where everybody's questioning, or where the clerk says, "Oh, that's never happened before."
Yeah, it's all.
Video evidence. Oh, no, we've never dealt with that. We've not got any way of dealing with that. For a clerk to say that in a sheriff court and for a sheriff to lead from that
Yeah.
is absolutely horrific.
Oh no. But there's an aspect that you hit upon, being that Gary's solicitor claims she's received no emails. She confirmed that she's never spoken to me.
Today?
No. That was at the case management that you were on about.
Aye, 29th of November 2024.
Yeah.
Aye, no, she confirms she's never spoken to you. She confirms there's not had any emails, confirms all that. But is able to say to you that you're writing in a language that's incoherent.
Right.
Because she says that you'll only read the emails if they're coherent.
Yes.
You know, who could have put their string to say and do that? You know, see when you look at Mike Forfey Dundee, what he tried to do, and you look at his counterpart, what he claimed in the courts, and how we cut all that out and pulled them up outside.
Right.
But you look at every single solicitor's done up in the North East of Scotland, Kimberley, it's like, you've not got a fucking chance in hell. You know, and even the makeup of the Sheriff Court and Tribunal Service, where you've got lawyers that can go in and be PFs right away, it's a fucking shambles, man. It's an absolute shambles. And that's just my opinion. That's the opinion of the people that's left in droves, you know.
Oh, I know. But that's what I've been up to today.
Well, what you've identified today is Gary hasn't got a clue what the lawyers are doing. The lawyers are being either you can't say where the interference is happening, whether they're getting the emails and they're just claiming that they're not getting emails, just like everybody else claim who's getting emails but claim they didn't get them. You know, all these. We need to mind, Kimberly. All these people have been checked out by Proton, and Proton's already said no. It's hitting their servers. It's getting there. You know, nothing wrong on your end.
But there's an aspect here, right? Even if the solicitors lie again and say that they didn't receive any email.
Well, that's the thing you can't say. You can't say they're lying because it could be. The problem could be with the hackers preventing it from getting there, so they can control the outcome.
Right. Well, if that is a case, or if they are just lying, they can't really window it the way they want to, because Gary has confirmed that he's contacted his solicitor and informed his solicitor of the situation.
See,
and that his solicitor will get back in touch with me.
This
that
is
was
the thing.
his exact words.
Gary's getting kept in the dark for the solicitors.
Yeah.
It's the only way this can be controlled, and for the outcome to be that you lose all your gear. The more.
Yep.
And you've seen me try to get up and do things on 3 occasions, and look what's happened to me afterwards. I think this is the best I've felt, but I'm still feeling bad. That's why I didn't really appreciate. I do appreciate you telling me, Kimberly, but you should have let me wake up first. Honestly, but what I'm pleased about, what I've discovered and what you've told me, is what was suspected, that not everybody is in full knowledge of what the next person's doing.
No, I'm discovering that myself.
And I think Gary's got to be told exactly what Police Scotland have done, what the lawyers have done, what Aberdeen City Council have done, and all the attempts you've had to flee hate crime as you've been punished at that address. Absolutely fucking tortured at that address.
Yeah.
Then you've got a shower of fucking clowns coming out and liking comments on Twitter, out of the blue, you've got 13 of them or something. Oh, I'm fully confident. Just take you fucking out.
Do you think there's any real point in letting Gary know this?
Aye. Aye. Because he's been manipulated stupid. He's been quite potentially lost a lot of money. But then again, it could be all a big massive. I don't think it's a big massive front for Gary Kim.
No.
I don't. No, that's been a case he was asked to do something and it's went on too long. Far too long, because of the way we responded to a lot of it. You need to remember, we worked hard to gather the evidence. There's no way that's going to get wiped by anybody.
Mm.
And we've still got it. And the drives we got back the other day there, you can see what's missing off the drives.
Yeah.
But people have not worked out that we've already got a copy anyway.
Yeah.
And we put a copy there to see what would go missing. And it's like the same thing as Lead Hulls, the same thing as we done in Kilmarnock when we left 2 seasons, all the drives connected, and the same thing we done in Manor Street.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like each of these times they come in and take the opportunity to wipe that and wipe this.
Oh, I know.
So it's great gathering that as evidence that when you do leave who's vulnerable or that they think is evidence vulnerable, it will be manipulated, attacked and wiped.
Yep.
Each and every time. And it's good to have that.
Oh, I know that. But, Melanie's opinion is for yourself to write an email into the court.
I've done that, Cam. They've not responded to it. I've already wrote to the court saying I'm the tenant. I've already wrote to the court, explained through word, action and indeed. There's no arguing that. I've got a continuous link with the property.
Have you done it on the Gmail email?
Aye, I've done it prior to the case management meeting on the 9th of March.
Right.
And after that.
Right.
I'm just going to go to the toilet.
Aye, hang on now.
I need to go to the toilet.
Right, well, quickly, hang on now.
Oh, quick, what is it? This is not fair.
Here's that so I can pick it off.
What's that?
That's nothing.
Right now in the wee scone, you decided to record me and stuff, but I think for the purpose of making the recording, there'll be other detail that we'd like to sort of make more concise.
Okay.
You know, so people can understand exactly where the position is for this legal challenge and the sheer attempt by everybody involved to make sure you lose all your property, having had your place smashed up and lost so much property over these removals. In one case, a whole house.
Yeah.
You know, a whole house, all your belongings, absolutely everything. In the Gordon Mills case, So I think there's things that we need to mention just now, so people can expect what's coming. But I think in respect to this case and all other cases, it's a devolution minute when I've took you through the statutes before, in the sections. It shows that an impartial tribunal can be met. Article 6, paragraph 1, and all the same stuff. Article 8, the invasion into life, and how certain authorities, knowing that any pish can be said in an inquisitorial process and having tried in the sheriff courts and failed to decide to date in evictions and have that false character profiled in through these evictions, that's not really getting dealt with, but it's just getting bought up on the character. It's like when you first gave the appeal case to Patterson Bell, right? That was dealing with devolution minutes on the clerks. That was dealing with compatibility issues in the process so far.
Yeah.
And they wiped all that. A whole bulk shoe went in there with
Right.
the instruction. And then you had a meeting speaking about it, and none of that took place. None of these things were dealt with, allowing the abuse to continue. And it's continued with elemental applaud, and actually needed it in place and for it not to be dealt with. For this never to have been dealt with, everybody requires it not to be dealt with. But I think that the lawyers have absolutely shot everybody down in flames with their claims, It's like you're now about to lose all your belongings on the back of what the lawyers' decisions were when they told the landlord not to speak to us, which, and from our perspective, it continued the abandonment of the property.
Yeah.
Now, the landlord himself spoke at the tribunal and only spoke about one occasion when he'd actually met you at the property, and that was on a day where I was speaking to him about repairs inside the property. I was speaking to him about how to go about getting the rent for a period in time you lived there and how to get the rent in my name. But what we would need to do is make a challenge to the Aberdeen City Council on their decision making as being ultra-vires in the past. And it was after that the European Courts of Community Justice came back and said that it was discriminatory against disabled people for removing them onto universal credit, the fact that they just simply moved area. And you also had the backing that wasn't until July the 24th, 2022, was a disability package put into universal credit that then made universal credit applicable, not necessarily to you, because the deeper packages weren't involved and the carer packages weren't involved too much later. So for us to both go on universal credit to get Aberdeen City Council to pay a rent, one, you had to get rid of your carer, like they told you, and two, you need to move on to universal credit, which back in April the 1st, 2019, onwards right up till July the 24th, 2022, there was no universal credit that was applicable to you or me. And the council told you, well, you'll just have to start at the bottom and wait till the disability package comes in. Which, if you'd have taken that advice, you would needed to have covered the rent for a 2-bedroom flat, which for one person they wouldn't have done, so you would have been evicted anyway. You would have lost your carer, I would have lost all my carer's rights, my carer's allowance and that's exactly what happened.
Right.
Even though we contested it and fought it all the way, found good people in the council that were supporting us and found terrible people in the council along with the good people. Freedom of Information Request officers gave us the best that they could give us. They helped us a lot. So when you got the whole package there, what Aberdeen City Council has actually done in your life, and then supporting rogue landlords and letting agents at the Housing and Property Chamber, when Aberdeen City Council knew in respect to Gordon Mills case, the Gordon Mills Place case, that there was previous tenants going back 2 or 3 that had continuously complained to the council about the state of the property and the conditions that the landlord had them in. Mm. And that council allowed that same landlord to move you into that property, make all the same complaints and not support you at all. Whilst never investigating the landlord as being a fit and proper person. It's the same in Bodom, it's the same in Duke Street. And the criminality involved that is in the counterclaim, that should have seen that the first year tribunal should have passed it up. But they ignored absolutely everything. And you've got to look at how the case management meeting went on the 29th of November 2024. When you look at that record, you can see that on all fronts, clerks of court are pushed into admitting things that they had breached the procedure which would have discontinued the hearing on the 29th, because that couldn't have went ahead unless everybody had full notification of what was going on. In this case, the 30 emails that would have shown legal points if they hadn't been doctored. And all the emails that would then have went to the clerk, the lawyer, which would have prevented any case management meeting taking place like that on the 29th. The legal chair had the duty to adjourn that and give the legal chair a chance to read them. And she says she would read them if they were coherent. So it was like the lawyer sort of had an idea that it would be incoherent. And there's a same thing going all the way back to Sheriff Christine McCrossan at Peterhead Sheriff Court, where she says that the emails were sending but didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And we couldn't understand why, because I was standing there with a blue folder with everything I'd ever written in the case in a chronological order. And I asked the sheriff, look, well, show me where these are incoherent. And she looked at the folder. I've got it all here. But she didn't check it.
Mm-hmm.
So I questioned that at that time. If you've got things that are incoherent and I've got a copy of them here, why will you not check them?
No.
You know, if there's any tomfoolery going on here, then it's not by my hand. And that was discovered right at the start of the case.
Right.
You know, so for the case to continue, with the clerks writing to us, saying to us that neither of the two of them can help us, and with the fiscals chasing us out the office, running down the street, you know, it's absolutely crazy stuff. And did you notice that Procurator Fiscal's office, we never gave our names?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Never once did we give our names, and every time we walked in, the people would all come to a halt and what they were doing and just stand there looking at us. And we never gave our names once.
Yeah, I've noticed that not only there but in other aspects of places. I've noticed that I don't need to provide my name, they automatically know who I am.
I know. And then you get the folk that will turn around after speaking to you and giving you the same sort of a type of attitude, and then asking your name as if they didn't know, even though they spoke about content dealing with that person that you claim to be. They really blow it.
Yeah, I know.
There's hundreds of stuff there, Kimberly. Come on, how many times have I sat on a phone talking to somebody and I've started doing shapes with my hands to signify to the camera, this is it here. This is the person screwing up massively, you know? And I do that so nobody can claim later, well, that's all right in hindsight. I remember a sheriff saying that to me. You know, imagine somebody saying to somebody who's got a more sensitive ability than most. Oh, okay, looking at that in hindsight. No fucking hindsight. Even if it's seen in hindsight, you need to deal with that. And that was talking about a major problem with the process with a compatibility issue that I tried to tender on the 8th of March 2020. I never got there until May the 2nd, 2020. And the reason being is because none of the clerks or ushers would take it and get it to the sheriff and would smuggle it in through your paperwork. And that's when Sheriff Mann, so no second to me, 30th to me, that's when Sheriff Mann appointed a court-appointed defence solicitor. And then during COVID, you had two lawyers sitting up at the back with a policeman and a security guard who didn't wash his hands when he came out the toilet. And they're sitting up at the back laughing at you. And I've got to put to Sheriff Mann's attention that not only is sitting in the fucking court and they shouldn't be there, gone with the COVID regulations, that the only people that should be in the court was the PF, the sheriff, a lawyer, if there were a lawyer for us, but there wasn't, and the clerk. That was it.
Yeah.
The usher, if needed. Right. So the usher, it was even questionable as to whether she was required to be there. And only in appearances where they assist the court with paperwork, moving it about and doing things. But the usher tends to be there all the time. But there was cases that went ahead where the usher wasn't required, so the usher wasn't in the court. But here in your case, what they done was brought us to court, and you lived at one address and I lived at another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the police questioned us, well, if Kimber lives at that address, what's she doing here? And what are you doing going along there? I says, well, you better ask the Sheriff Court that, because they've got us standing in the same dock together. We were not in a bubble, we're not in anything like that. I also came up with that out in the court, you know.
Right.
I brought it to, I think it was Sheriff Hodge, his attention, that me and you live at different addresses. And it was on the citation to be at court.
Right.
two different addresses, but here they had us in the dock. They got. There was a COVID breaches that were reported to the clerks, and we've got recordings of the calls reporting the COVID breaches. Try to report it to police and getting nothing but shite for the police.
Yeah, that's
You know, I don't have to speak to you. Or do you know? There's this crazy warrant that your mum identified in 2019 that the police didn't need to listen to anything I say because I applied for a warrant claiming I'm mental. Or it could be something like that, I don't know. But at the end of the day, they've never listened to anything, and they've used that as an excuse to pervert the course of justice and attempt to defeat the ends of justice on each and every occasion as false, malicious prosecutions in the civil realm. In the criminal realm come along with the idea that the criminal tells us in the street, you will be sectioned and no dogs will be killed.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, so it's really weird today to sit down with the drive dealing with Hedy Muir and Slamana. That was brutal. You know, by the time you come in, and you looked at me and you went, "You alright?" And I went, "No, not really. I've been looking at the drives and just laid down. I'm glad you never questioned me on anything."
No.
That done my nothing. But to have all that evidence in the one place and to fling it back to Police Scotland and say, "Look, you need to investigate this now." It's been proved over the years we've not got mental health issues. You've not managed to create mental health issues in us. You know, we're not falling about, we're no weak and need drugs or alcohol or anything to subdue the pain. No, we've took it fucking full face on, we've dealt with it. Now you need to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not dealing with it anymore.
Do you think they'll ever will deal with it?
The landlord?
No, the police.
No, because they can't. They can't deal with it. They cannot deal with it. That's why when they're saying, "Oh, there's good men and women," there is, we've met them. They want to do things, they try to do things, there's some push further than others.
Yeah.
They come back and tell us how disgusted they are. Police even stop us and say, "You're recording?" Aye. And we turn it off and show them us, we turn it off and talk to us in confidence that we're not recording or try to sneak a recording, and we've no recorded these posts that spoke to us. Even in the house, when I say, "Look, I'm taking a recording, it's not for YouTube, it's not for that become a respectful thing," and they were glad they were being recorded. You know, they were glad they were seen to be trying to affect Officer Constable by taking evidence and taking statements and going away and trying to do something about it. Okay? These are the same constables that come back and say, "Are you recording?" Aye. Turn it off. Right, that's it off, we're not recording. You know, they really trust us.
Yeah.
And they have a right to trust us. Okay? But as an air policeman says, I remember him coming out with that. I was surprised it was him because he hadn't ever gave anything away. He stayed silent a lot. He go, and it was on, this is on a recording. He just come out and said, when I was talking to his colleague, he goes, "You maybe got a lot further if you weren't recording, James." Okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, right, maybe that's so, but I'm not wanting any favours. I'm just looking at what the law's done and what the law's responsible for, and these are the statutory instruments that prevent it. These are the ones that's been contravened, and it's up to you to sort it because you're only licensed authority in Scotland to be dealing with these things.
Right.
So I'm not looking for favours, I'm not looking to go into the banana-shaped legal system, or style in it, for that matter. I'm looking for the banana to be straightened, and I'm looking for a straight line of trajectory for affecting, getting effective remedy, redress and accountability at the courts, and making sure that all court parties have got that in mind when they sit down and create what they call an impartial tribunal. And if none of them are off that mind, if one or two's not off that mind, or if people are deceiving each other right, left and centre, being pursuers, solicitors, and then clerks deceiving the legal chair, and we look at the deception that the clerks have identified that's came from the legal chair and not dealing with legal points at any time at all. I mean, your first legal points in the case against Gary is he the landlord? I mean, there's a lot of questions there, right? It's not that he's brought the action on the wrong person, being you, and claimed that you've been a tenant all this time, right? It's not just that. It's whether he's actually a landlord that can bring an application into the court. And quite frankly, the two tick boxes the Tribunal of Scotland Act rules and regulations for applications for evictions are tick boxed. Has he got a signed contract? Aye. Is he a landlord? Aye. Right. So that's it. It's a legal application. That's needing to be readdressed, that, because that doesn't cover the things that used to be covered with in respect to contract law and all different things. And the reason it's not covered is because they're not trained in that, they're not qualified in that. So they're looking, the people that are making decisions these days, the qualification only takes them as far as making decisions on antisocial behaviour and decisions on housing law. That's it. Nothing more than that.
But that's the aspect. They have to make decisions on housing law. But roped within housing law, as you know, is contract law.
Aye.
But they
they're
can't
not
make any decision on contract law.
That's right, that's why it's got to go to a sheriff court, because you're citing contract law. They can't deal with it, it's got to move on.
Yeah.
And then the criminality and things, and the failure by Police Scotland to record and report and investigate these crimes, and then Aberdeen City Council acting along with Police Scotland and various other agencies failing to record and report hate crime, whether it's a third party agency or as a first party agency. You know, they're failing to record it, and we've got all the records of reporting it, and we're also telling them what they're suit to achieve. And all the way for telling Police Scotland and Peterhead that there's people planning to kill the dogs, we don't know how they're going to be doing it, but watch for these complaints coming.
Yeah.
And we preempt them all the way. Right? We even make videos in June, I think it's the 18th, at Peterhead Sheriff Court, where we put a big muzzle on Toby, and we put a big chain round his neck, and a big, massive 1-ton chain as a lead, you know, and we take a picture of that because we know what's coming.
Yeah.
We know the allegation is going to come on Toby. We know roughly how it's going to be set up now. We take videos when we're at the post office and we gel all them together. We make videos in 2018 that the police couldn't have believed.
No, I know.
Predicting everything that was ready to happen next, and then highlighting it as it were going. So, when you've got lawyers and police telling you, oh, well, we all watch your videos, James, you know, it's like, you're getting them noticed by public networking. And that's why it doesn't matter what videos been posted and took down. You gave the police notification on a social networking platform ever since there was an agreement with Sergeant Reid, Tilliedrone Police Station, who's now an inspector in Fraserburgh, an inspector in Ellon, I think. And you've got Sergeant Callender, who is very operational across the whole legal challenge sector.
Yeah.
And the prevention legal challenges being recorded, reported, investigated. And then the procurement, the very same people is getting complained about, but getting used as prosecuting witnesses. You know, where we start following the police in 2017, and the UK's only recorded mute and longest recorded mute. Later, when there was other recorded mutes coming up, sort of when lawyers started telling people what to do, you know, professionally, people got the advice just to remain silent and not even say no comment, because when you say no comment, you break your right to silence and just continue questioning the arse at you. But when you're generally not contesting anything in that questioning room, then you've not made a challenge to that. So therefore, the PF can't really go for a further remand in custody. They've got to have enough evidence to charge you there and then. And all that's been abused stupid. It really is. It's been abused stupid, man.
Oh, I know.
But even, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. When you look at the... fuck, look at all that. When you get your rights read to you, the rights are biased, malicious. But, no, your original question, do I think Gary knows what's going on? No, he doesn't. But everybody's trying to achieve you losing all your property, and there's been nothing, and you're up to your eyeballs in debt, so Adult Protection Support can make a move.
Oh, I know that.
And we've got to ask them where they've been in the last 5 years. Is this credible history? Not just reporting hate crime, but continues to talk about it, and them being involved in the discussions that impact it.
Yes.
All the people that's been involved in the discussions of the impact of this and where it's coming from, and what they should have recorded and what they've actually got recorded. I mean, even the case in Falkirk, for the Falkirk Council has got against you, Falkirk Sheriff Court, if they only realised we only went to the north east of Scotland to capture exactly what Falkirk had done and bring that out in evidence in courts, because we knew it would continue, and we captured a continuation of that. And we done that we moved in February 2018, we moved to Bodom, and by April we caught it out, and with police agreeing with us, we're only sitting ducks with false allegations, and everything was getting said is crap. And there's a definitely positive attack on your ducks. for a policeman to be taken out and that record to be wiped, and for us to find periodically through the next year and a half, there's decent polos coming back, angry with the fact that nothing's getting done, telling us, look, we've put that into production, we've put up to the production officers, we've done this, we've done that. We don't understand why it's not gone to the PF's office. And of course we could, and a lot of them identified as soon as it gets to line manager level, it's not got a chance. Right?
No.
You've got the cops that tell you that.
Yeah, no.
But it's absolutely wild. So I don't think Gary's got a clue what's going on. I think he's been manipulated and he's been dragged out of a 5-year period as multiple factors has failed. And that's been the ongoing attempt to accuse us of mail theft, fucking credit card fraud, shit. I mean, we really should make a decent, competent video about the credit cards and the frauds and the browsers, the stuff we find in the house. We really should. And how that works out. How we capture it. How people have been so fucking stupid. Seriously dumb. To even have thought about trying that kind of thing. And then to continue that, God knows, placing their addresses to show the continuity. And as we've discovered, there's a raft of evidence against the Royal Mail going all the way back to Linda McGee. You know? It actually goes all the way back to the postman that pissed himself in Heady Muir. When he tried to say that you had signed for a document, and it was him that took the signature.
Right.
When I showed him the bus tickets and the video that you shot, you been in, you had went to Bathgate.
Yeah.
Right, and you were in Bathgate police station. Your bus ticket showed that you'd left at the back of 6 in the morning to get there. This postman started to pee himself, claiming that he was some way incontinent, he couldn't keep it in, sorry about that, and flung himself behind the bush to continue peeing, but was looking at me mortified because he can't he was caught it.
Yeah.
He knew he was caught. And when you go back to, we came for Heady Muir, we went to Heady Muir for Lead Hills. When you look at the Royal Mail in Lead Hills and what they were doing with every single bit of mail, and that was opening it up and sticking it back down the sellotape with the perforated edge on it, right, that's cut off the rails at the post office cheese. And when you get the perfection in the size of the tape to that, that's somebody who's used to cutting tape for different sized envelopes. Because the tape was perfect. It wasn't like it was too short or over long or wrapped round, it was just perfect.
Right.
Okay, and every bit, so it was somebody who done it in their job every day, it was cutting this tape. And no Rab in the pub, although he was opening the mail. Because all their mail went to Rab in the pub in the hotel, you know. But if you look at that postwife, if you look at the whole thing, in fact, we're up there for a few weeks, a few months, about 6 months. And one night, I say to you, it's the back of 8 at night, Kim. No, the back of 4, sorry. And I say to you, I've got a feeling I should put up cameras. Right? And you went, aye. I went, aye. And I left it to the back of 8, and I got this rush. Aye, I need to put up cameras. And at no time at all, I stuck up 2 cameras on the eaves of the cottage. Cameras at the back, so I could show every exit way for the house, and every entrance to the house being covered. And the fields and the hills and everything else, it was got nice views. And the way I positioned the cameras, you got 2 lengths of the street and everything in the middle. So there was no blank spot, no black spot at all. And that was on the Friday night. I finally get them running. I think it's 3 minutes past 11, the recording starts it. And the next again day, right, you see 2 cops coming to the door. And me opening the door. And I've got them on a hand camera as well, right? And they're moving in with the shuffle across the threshold of the door. And I'm saying, I wouldn't do that. Did they cross that threshold? You stay there. And I asked them to get back to give them a space, but they didn't. They're still closing in the door. And ready for the grab. You know, younger and his poised, ready to go. An old guy standing there with a smile on his face. I've had a complaint. I says, oh, have you? And I says, what is that complaint? We'll talk about that at the station and all that shit.
Right.
And I says, no. I goes, you can't talk about anything with me at a station because that way I'll not have access to any data that I require to defend myself against this complaint. So you tell me what the complaint is first and we'll take it from there. And he says, well, what it is, you've taking pictures of the postwife. I says, oh, have I? Right. fucking, you know, it was the way he's smiling away, right? And this guy's looking at me like that, fucking believing every word he's saying, fucking ready to grab us, right? So you've got the good guy and the bad guy, the hostile looking brutish cunt, and you've got the silly old cunt who should have retired years ago, seriously. Quite easily bent and fucking depended upon to make any kind of shit up, and then smile at you when he's doing it, eh? A fucking arsehole. But he's standing there and he's going, got a complaint. Taking pictures of the postwife. I says, I'll have her. I goes, where did this happen? And he says, up in One Lock Head. I goes, when did it happen? He goes, this morning. Now, what had happened? It was 3 days prior to that. I'd posted a video of One Lock Head in the snow, right?
Aye.
And pictures of the road that I had to go up to get to the pictures, to take the pictures, eh?
Right.
And I also had video. So what I'd done, I'd made a video and posted it up on the YouTube site. And it showed that I was up in One Lock Head, and then I coloured in, no coloured, but made better, made professional some of the photos, eh? And I took photos for the video and used still shots and stuff and worked on the photographs. And I had it looking good, it was a good video. And I'm sure there was music behind it that I don't know who wrote it, whether it was me or Bob or what the hell was on, but there was arranged stuff on that video. And that was up on the internet for about 3 days at this point, when it's apparent that, oh right, he's been up in One Lock Head, he's been taking pictures, right, get the postwife in there. Okay. See, she's been getting her pictures taken. I thought, right. And so I say to him, I goes, well, that's not happened. I goes, I've not been up in One Lock Head taking pictures. I goes, I was up last week. And he's going, no, this happened this morning. And it was the way this guy's got his hands out now for his tunic. And he's coming down with his arms because he's sensing that this guy's getting round to, so we're now going to arrest you, James, right?
Right.
And I says to him, I goes, see, before we go anywhere, right, I goes, look up in the corner. I goes, you'll see a camera, and he looks up, and the smile came right off his face. And the guy's looking up at it, and at that point, I'm not convinced, but I'm considering that the young boy isn't believing every word he's saying, and he's in part of the act of making up the crap, because he looked concerned at the camera being there. And I say, then if you look up the other Eve, I go, you'll see a camera up there as well. And the two of them looked at that, and the old guy stood back a bit, right, stupidly, and that signalled the young guy to stand back a bit, which he did, and that's what that was all about. Right? Was the old guy telling the young guy, right, we're not going any further with this. Right? Because what the policeman's position should have been, if he had a genuine complaint, was, well, we don't care. The cameras will show that, maybe show that you've left this morning. Until we see that, you know, they should have brought that. I should still have been arrested on that complaint. But no, there was two poles backing out right away, and the older one commanding the younger one to do so, just by moving back a bit himself. You know?
I remember that.
And then telling me, well, there's maybe been some mistake. And I tell him, some mistake? I goes, no, this is claptrap, it's been made up, and there's Royal Mail involved, and they're pish again. And they do that rabbit, and the pub's behind us. You know what I mean? I wish, do you want to be chatting this door? There's the doors you want to be chatting across there for the carry-on they've created here. And now the postwife's involved. And she's gone with the fireman. And the fireman's already been involved in creating loads of trouble here. Together, acting in concert with different people. You know, it was like, they police fucked off and never come back. But that was Royal Mail complaints trying to be brought their way. And then when we got Douglas, it was fucking Royal Mail or the fucking way with their stupid carry-on.
Exactly.
Although the Royal Mail guy in Slamanan, he really tried hard to take nothing to do with anything and never committed himself to anything. Okay.
He was
alright.
in it, didn't he? What day?
But there's the 50-something fucking housewives that would put there on the mail run with no post office uniform on, no post office bag, would come up crashing gates like fuck.
Aye, exactly. I mean, what was that all about? We need someone to make a complaint. Right, need somebody to back up our lies.
Remember, we're making a video and you're not talking, Kim. Can you get proactive rather than just sit there? I had to wash my hands and wipe my face and I'm freaking frozen. Right, so I'll let you entertain the troops.
Oh dear.
There's some wild story about tribunals, and I'll go and make tea. Do you want a cup of tea?
No.
No? You sure?
No.
Right, I need a tea. Tell them about that wild time that you phoned up the tribunal and a bolt of lightning came at the telephone pole and struck you in the foot.
Aye.
No, come on, Scott. You're wanting to record and you're wanting to get a recording going, so record. Say some, help yourself. Make a plea with Gary. Tell him how many times you've had your stuff smashed up and flung out and destroyed, how many times you've rebuilt houses, how many times you've tried hard. Talk about all the work you've done at the address, how you managed to spend all your benefits nearly on buying toilets, sinks, getting them there, fucking doors, the lot. Tell Police Scotland about how long they left us with a door after illegally entering the house when they didn't have the power to do so. Tell them about loads of stuff about how long you've not had a front door. And then take it back to Frog Hall, how long you never had a front door after the police on the 17th of December 2020 decided to cave the frickin' door in when the joiner was sitting going, there's no need to do that. Talk about the evidence you got back for the joiners, the heating engineers. Talk about the evidence that the company gave you themselves, own themselves, that they couldn't do a gas inspection if there was no gas there.
Oh,
But managed to certificate the fucking property anyway. You know, tell them about all that. Tell them about Pebble Mountain Properties, Vin Spangleberg. Talk about Fraserburgh car sales. Talk about the Housing and Property Chamber events that took place there. Talk about the intimidation, the threats, the assaults that took place at the tribunals, and the police couldn't find anything to go on. Even though you were in big department stores and things like that, you were in the Bonacor Centre, fully cameraed in its own security team, but out of all that, they still couldn't identify the shite that was at the tribunal that came down to assault you. Okay?
no, that's it. I mean,
Talk about anything you want.
this is an aspect that goes over several years where you can report day in and day out to Police Scotland the people that are coming against you, the people that are going to be making false malicious allegations, how you know that it's going to be created, who told you it was going to be created. You can literally provide all the evidence in the world before the allegations and before the trumped up charges come against you. You can inform Police Scotland prior to all of that.
You can even tell Police Scotland, if that's what you're doing, don't be working on that because we've got too much evidence.
But
You can tell them point blank, they still go with it anyway. You know, but what's worse than that is when you've got continued instances of cybercrime. Mm-hmm. And you can locate it back to people in the village that's related to the main instigator of organised crime that got charged and was protected by Police Scotland turning up at the prosecuting witnesses' house the night before trial and telling them not to turn up. So, then a procurator fiscal who's legally obliged to ask for crave of a warrant on the first and second and third and every other calling, fails to do so, and on the second calling, the sheriff realising that this guy's not turned up twice, and if he doesn't turn up a third time, the case could collapse. The sheriff's then got a legal duty to make sure a warrant is put out for the guy's arrest. The guy's then arrested and brought into custody, and then the trial gets set, and he's kept in remand until the trial goes ahead. None of that was done. No. Guy just simply never turned up. Don't know why the main prosecuting witness turned up. We don't know why we never craved a warrant. We don't know what happened there, but hell, it was parked out the fucking door, wasn't it? So you can get prosecuting witnesses against you. You can get people who were supposed to be used as prosecuting witnesses and they've been nailed because of the evidence you've got against them and what you've reported to the police. So as all these attempts over the years at all different things for different people to make it look like we're the fucking clowns and all this, and as it was reported to us the other night there by Colin, all the evidence has gone against Jews. All the evidence that he knows he's been creating and generating are that close with vandalism, theft of the mail and fucking everything else, right up to sexual assault has took place. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like, sticking yourself in like that and Police Scotland try to put any evidence that's ever been created, been generated by any of the fucking people that came against us, it's never going to work. So there's probably why we're still sitting here and they're waiting till the country goes mental and then move with an inquisitorial process to section us. That's not going to happen either, because there's just too much evidence. I'm surprised we were able to cover it. I really am. I don't know why we're not exhausted or fatigued with so much here. But it appears for me, it doesn't matter which aspect or which point and date I look in my life, I can come out and talk for hours on there.
Yeah.
Round about that area, round about that arena. And getting access back to some of the evidences again. That's been brutal to sit and watch it because I'm watching it in real time. I just can't skip any part of it and think, right, I know what happened there. I know what's gone on. Right, next one. I've actually got to sit and endure it to make sure it's my mind's no.
I know what you're saying there.
Fatigued or foggy on it, but it's no, because when things hit you this hard, they didn't become fucking confused. And when you're dealing with the same thing day in, day out, you become the buffer zone you're able to build and how you build buffer zones keeps everything ticking.
Aye.
And that's comedy for me in music. You know, it's everything is natural. And food.
Now, see, as much as I clipped a mic on you, try to avoid Scratch McClackers coming in and things.
Well, Scratchy McClackers is no came in here, is he?
No, but
I can be serious.
no, I know that.
By the way,
There is aspects that Scratch needs to come in. Just,
Scratch needs to come in.
a lot of folks got to understand that.
Everybody needs Scratch McClackers.
Aye. But a lot of people's got to understand that this situation isn't easy for anybody, and of course they're going to need humour and everything else thrown in the mix. So you didn't want to be sitting listening to somebody on a video going, all the problems.
I know.
Yeah. There's got to be a bit of humour, there's got to be something that's just, yeah.
It sounds like you're struggling there, Kimberly.
Right.
To grasp even what you're talking about. Can you not fulfill us with some dynamic fucking bolt of lightning that hit the courts in a certain way? And it went, Ping.
Well, on an aspect that you hit pertaining to the hate crime aspect, I'm never recording it.
Alright. It's hate crime
Now,
itself.
that is something that has completely changed
Is it?
through one police call handler. But I'm led to believe, and I'd have quoted the case reference number that was provided and things like that.
When was this?
That was on the 10th of March 2026.
Aye, and I'm just hearing about it now.
No, I informed you.
Did you?
I
But the police have got a record of hate crime being reported.
informed you that. Because
But,
the
aye.
first receptionist wife was of the opinion nothing to see here. Type malarkey, we'll just we'll record it, we'll close down the investigation, we'll do this, we'll do that. On the, I believe it was the 5th or 6th call that I made that day, it got through to a brand new lassie, absolutely a wee gem, who explained what she could see on the system that it looks like the incident's closed. She then endeavours with me regarding what the situation is. That's why I went through everything, closing doors, opening windows to the lot to show that I'm in my address. But I started to look back all the previous addresses,
Aye, I know what you're talking
identify
about
the
now.
same modus behaviour
But Kimberly,
Things like that.
listen, can I stop you?
Aye.
I know what you're talking about now, but what I'm saying is there isn't instances recorded that identify these as hate crimes, an ongoing hate crime.
No, it's marked down.
But it's hate crime.
Yeah. Because I went into full detail of how it is classified.
Right now, Kimberly can define whether it was marked down on the system as a hate crime or it was then marked down as a hate crime for what you just told her on the 10th.
It was at that moment in time when speaking to her that I was updated to reflect a hate crime, disability discrimination, and possibility organised crime under the very definition.
Right, so listen, you've clarified something, and what I was trying to find out was, did she go on the computer and see that these have been recorded as hate crimes, disability discrimination? And the answer is no.
Right,
They've been closed.
Yes.
Right, so what I'm saying is, when you say to Police Scotland that that's changed, when I say there's no record of hate crimes anywhere, you say that's changed.
Yes.
It's only changed for the 10th of March because you informed at that point in time about your perception of things were.
Yes.
As opposed to when you were originally recording these hate crimes with the police handler, telephonist or whoever along the lines hasn't recorded that.
Yeah.
And that allows Police Scotland to no record or report and investigate these crimes.
Yes.
And any claim that we can make that we've been reporting hate crimes, then we've got mental health issues. Or our perception of it was going on about us as a mental health issue.
Yes.
As opposed to qualified with crucial evidence that will blow out every false statement that was ever used in any of the prosecutions in the criminal field and any of the evictions that happened in the civil field. I'll just rip the whole thing up.
Exactly.
And the proceedings and how these cases have proceeded will blow itself out the water. You know, there's no way these cases could have proceeded over that period in time, whilst us repetitively saying the same thing over and over and never been heard, having made multiple appearances in criminal courts and multiple appearances at the Housing and Property Chamber by WebEx and telephone. And then there's the amount of communications we've made with the Housing and Property Chamber by email and telephone in between all these appearances and hearings, you know?
Yeah.
So there's no way anybody can turn around and say, oh, we've not got a record of hate crime. We've not got a record of your defences. But what we have got is the Sheriff Court and Tribunal Service, doesn't matter which part of the service it is, in complete denial of your evidence. Doesn't matter what procedure we've tried to put it through. And then we're told we need to act as solicitors. Seriously.
Right.
Well, I think when the courts will come to that perspective, where everybody's got to act like a solicitor, then they've got to give you the due, they've got to take consideration to that when you start to put paperwork in the higher courts that requires a solicitor's signature, that's not going to be there. Therefore, it's got to be accepted because you're acting as a solicitor. You've disqualified, the sheriff's disqualified you as acting as a solicitor. You know?
Yeah.
So why should the certain paperwork be denied by Lord Braid on the principle there's no legal signatory there? But I'm sure there was a change to all that in 2016, and then there were further changes to that through the COVID regulations, and that a signature wasn't required. And when you look at the original instrument, it could be a devolution. It is a devolution minute when you look at the original instrument, because where you are first and foremost obliged to legally defend yourself in a court, or you can get somebody else to represent you, and that member is then covered by a society rules and regulations. When you are defending, or when you're fending for yourself, a whole different approach has got to be taken by the Sheriff Court and Tribunal Service in respect to that. Yeah. And it shouldn't be, well, you need to act as a qualified solicitor. You know, and it's like when you look at the Legal Review for Tribunals, it's got to be user-friendly. And you look at the rules and regulations under the Tribunals, Scotland Rules and Regulations, 2017, and some amendments. But you go is, all you have to do is report to the legal chair your counterclaim and it's up to the legal chair to make sure that counterclaim is heard in a court. Now, your counterclaim was, well, I'm not the tenant, and that's the only reason you were there. Every other question doesn't apply to you. Right? Everything just stops right in its tracks there because I'm not the tenant. And where they were told that I was the tenant, and they were told that I was sitting in the room, any time did they address me.
Exactly.
And it's something they could quite easily have done. And under the rules and regulations, the legal chair would have had no option to send the solicitors back to the pursuer and ask questions regarding that.
Right.
Because all that he has at that point in time is a contract that was signed in 2020 and nothing more. There's no ongoing continuous contract or an agreement to that. When you look at the law in it, they didn't have to provide you with a contract every 6 months, but a competent landlord would to re-engage that contract.
Yeah.
But the law does recognise it as something that continues, but it only continues if both parties are providing for on the law contract, that being that you're receiving or I'm receiving the services and the home life that a house brings, and he's receiving a rent. Now, he never received a rent, and on the fact that he didn't comply with his part of the contract, and then I become the tenant in the midst of that. So there's no way they can argue that you're the tenant, but they have, and they've managed to succeed in the court, and the legal chair's even made a statement saying that he's absolutely got no doubt that you're the tenant. Well, doubt would be found if you just looked at the emails, the 30 emails. Doubt would be found there on the 29th of November, as it was confirmed by the clerk of court that he had only just provided the legal chair with the emails and hadn't provided anybody else with them, even though he had a legal duty to date for months and months, but they're all held back.
Well, what's that?
See?
I mean,
so I don't know how the legal chair could stand on anything that he's decided, and then for the upper tier tribunal not to see any success in. I mean, what's that all about? I don't say it's the upper tier tribunal when you apply for permission to appeal the refusal to appeal, and they didn't see any chance of success with that, but they're going to set a hearing anyway. They set a hearing for the 9th of March. I'm there, and I'm just blowing out. I'm just cut out the whole hearing.
That's that.
And even though I've informed the clerk there's technical issues, and there's technical issues with you, I informed the clerk that you're with disability and the instructions that she's been giving you back to back. Well, you're probably maybe sitting in a panic state now and no understanding why it's not working. You will have went to your settings, you will see that your camera and mic is turned on and the permissions are there, and you'll be convinced that you're being hacked.
Yeah.
And I'm telling her I've not got an option for a camera or anything here. So I can only take it Kimberly hasn't got that option either. I don't know why you can hear me now, you know, because I'd done nothing to be heard. It just suddenly switched on by somebody else.
All right.
But when you look at how the clerk knew prior to, I mean, the legal chair says, can I propose that I go away for a period in time and find out whether I was going to choose to come into the hearing type thing, eh? There was a choice of yours. And then after that, the clerk says, yeah, that'd be a good idea type thing. So there you go. Somebody that's legally minded making a suggestion and the clerk agreeing with that who's not legally qualified. And then after the legal chair leaves the hearing, the clerk says to you, Ms. Baffett, I believe you might be having technical issues. So for that reason, I'm going to be sending you emails to tell you how to turn on your mic and all the rest of it, right? And then she's giving you instruction the communication in WebEx. And I'm sitting there and she can't hear me. But in my recording, I'm sitting saying, look, you need to stop giving her these instructions. You're disabled. And then I tell that to the clerk when she can hear me. So when the clerk goes back to the hearing, she informs the hearing that I'm there. Then I'm cut out and the hearing continues without me, even though the clerk was now updated with the fact that we've got technical issues, that you wouldn't be able to attend the hearing, and I'm the guy who's representing this hearing. I even say in my recording, the reason they want me in here is because they know screw the whole tribunal.
Right.
Right, and this is just on the basic claim that I'm the tenant. And I'm there saying it to a legal chair. I've no wrote it in an email, I've no spent 2 years, 3 years repeating this process and phoning them up and repeating this process just to be blank and ignored.
Right.
And I hail like there's no trace of that. I mean, I made an application for under the repair and standard on the 20th of March 2021, and nothing back.
Right. Completely and utterly ignored you.
Yep. Even though I've got about 7 telephone calls where they identify the application is there, and they don't understand why it's not been put on. And then the application is no there. And then the data protection controller is supposed to be getting back in touch with me, and I've got a supervisor, and the person who works in Nova is called James, agreeing, yep, we need to put this to the data protection controller because we knew it was there, we don't know where it's went now, that's weird, we've never seen this before. And that's the same supervisor that said, when I first told her, look, I'm going to be sending emails, the problems I expect to find is these things are going to disappear, no get there, they'll get chopped, hacked, it will be the true copy that you've sent. And we've identified that in the past. And she found it surprising. She says, oh, I've never heard of that before. I goes, no, you wouldn't have done. It will happen in very few cases, but it's taking place. Let me trust me. That's why I'm phoning you up to preempt you. I'm sending them. And she says, well, what to do is I'll keep an eye out for them. When you send them, these are phones, so we've done that. Mm-hmm. I says, that's me sending them, right? We'll have a look for them, but they're never there yet.
Yeah.
And then they never go back in touch. So I phones up again, and I phones up again. And it eventually turns out data protection controllers not getting involved. Tribunal president's not getting told about this. They've still not dealt with the repair and standard application. Then the wife tells me to do it again. Right? After ages, this wife tells me to do it again. So I send exactly what I sent the first time round. And I told her I'd do that. I will send you the email that I sent on the 20th of March. And you'll see all the attachments in that, and that'll be a copy if it was sent before, so you'll ken what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And this went missing. And she said, right. And they go to that application. So it's like, it's been near twice. And not only that, a copy of what I sent the first time, they've now got that by receiving it a second time.
Yep.
And all that's been scrubbed and wiped. There's no trace of that now. And each time you try to introduce the fact that, look, listen, you're bringing an action against me. I'm not the tenant. Mr. Fraser's a tenant. He's got a repair and standard application on the 20th of March. Have a look. You'll see this is not right. And they would keep telling you, yeah, that application has nothing to do with this. Mm-hmm. Right, and identifying there was an application there.
That's it.
But they haven't read the application. They understood that there'd be to be nothing to do with that you were on your case reference number. So therefore, for that reason, they weren't going to talk to you about it.
Right.
Absolutely incredible stuff.
Exactly.
The amount of times my applications have been identified to be there and then told or no. The amount of times the legal chairs had legal points to address and they simply never have done. Right. Because in the respect of this case, they need to understand that Gary Smith wasn't a registered landlord at that time. They need to understand that he could only have been acting for somebody who was a registered landlord, being his wife, who ultimately brought the case against you. But it's always Gary it's mentioned. So who's acting what? You know, if they're accepting that she's brought the claim and that claim is legal on her name,
yes,
right, because she's a registered landlord and that's the way they're trying to fling this, right, then why did they address Gary? Why was she never brought into court? And why was Gary the one that was, in his own admission, was turning up to speak about rent, turning up to speak about, and our statements, turn up to deal with the repairs and deal with only me, because it's only me that's at the address.
Yeah.
Why would they do all of that? If he's not the landlord, and if I'm not the tenant, and the reason being is because he's an acting agent. That's the only legal definition that can be applied to him, that he's an acting agent for the landlord. And if he's an acting agent, you need to be qualified under the Letting Agents Code of Conduct 2016. You need to also be insured. Mm-hmm. For you a property on the 1st of September 2020 and allow me to overtake a property or a tenancy on the 14th of September 2020 that's seen me having a continuous link to the property for now to this date. Yeah. But I'm out of there because they decided to evict you on a document that was signed on the 1st of September, which is a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense. And all your defence was on the 29th, you told the tribunal point blank that the only reason that you were on the phone wasn't to defend this action against you because there was none.
Yeah.
Because you weren't the tenant. Mr. Fraser, a tenant, Mr. Fraser is here.
Yeah.
Now, how the tribunal can continue to talk to you for the next 3 hours and take a break and come back again without ever addressing me. You know what I mean? I could have came in at any time and said, actually, I'm the tenant, and got myself in there.
Aye.
And I would have got, yes, Mr. Fraser, but I would have got that carry on.
Aye, I know
And
that.
plus, I had to drag out the evidence that they would never ask me.
Yeah.
They never want me involved in that. They didn't want to introduce me in any hearing at all.
No.
Down to the point of even blank me on the phones and then block me when I do eventually get in there. Okay.
Because I do remember that. My exact words was that I'm not the tenant. The other aspect was that I can't see how the tribunal could have possibly accepted any application from Gary because he wasn't registered. And then when producing their evidence, being the solicitors producing their evidence, I suggested at one of the case management meetings that his bank statements now clearly show that he was now registered. So why am I even here today? You just can't accept this application.
Well, see, the thing is, right, where the problem arises there isn't the fact of whether he was registered or no. It's the fact that they've led the tribunal to believe that he was, and he was always registered.
But the tribunal's got to have seen documentation showing that he was registered before they can accept the application.
No,
And the fact
they
that
don't.
they bypassed that.
They don't. But they've got to take as in good faith for the solicitors bringing the application that they've done their due diligence. And for that's how it works, right? How these cases succeed in the courts is because the legal chair's got a position where when a solicitor brings an application, he takes it in good faith, right? He doesn't need to check nothing. Doesn't need to ask any questions at all. It's naturally understood that under the good faith, that's in good faith, that the due diligence has got to be undertaken has actually taken place. And that being, they've just sat down with a guy who's made a verbal claim and they've running that into a court of last resort,
Yeah.
right? Because their legal standpoint would then be, okay, I'm going to run with this even though I've not got any copy, any safety certificates, electricity certificates, any proof at all that this guy is even a landlord. And if he is a landlord, that he's complied with the contractual agreement, allowing him to have a full contract that would then allow the tribunal to allow him effective remedy, redress and accountability off that contract. Right, so you've got the problem as to whether he is or whether he's not a landlord, right? But even if he's paid late registration fees, if he had walked into the court and says, yeah, there appeared in time I wasn't registered for, but fix that out, that's identifiable by my bank statements, and I can confirm that basically, then he would still have an action against you. You still find yourself fighting a case, even though he wasn't registered and he paid late registration fees, right? And I think the tribunal tends to be dependent on that if pushed. Because what we've got is the Housing and is the Aberdeen City Council on various occasions confirming through their landlord registration checker that he wasn't registered, right? And neither for a period in time was Gary Smith's wife, right, who was registered at the start of the contract as being a landlord, but only her, right? For her never to be involved in any part of the process, she's got to affect her agent. An agent was Gary, who was unregistered and uninsured, to offer you a contract. So therefore, the contract was under duress for the point go. But when you look at it furthermore, the hate crime, the organised crime, and the ongoing racism that continued at that address, had an elderly in the building and various other people, and the way that was manufactured and manifest, and you think about the record